Welcome to the Football Forecast, your ultimate guide to the NFL week ahead. Get ready as we dive deep into the biggest matchups, analyze key player performances, and break down the strategies that could make or break your favorite team's chances. Whether you're looking to dominate your fantasy league, make smart picks and bets, or simply stay ahead of the game, we've got you covered with insights and predictions. So buckle up, football fans. It's time to get your game face on for another action-packed week in the NFL. While only one team can hoist the trophy at the end, it all starts with the forecast.
Yes, here we go. And then there were 8. And welcome to the divisional round of the football forecast here on the Empty the Bench Podcast Network. Make sure you can watch all Empty the Bench podcast programming on youtube.com/ETB Network, where we are actually live streaming this very show right now, as well as to several of our social media accounts where you can follow this show at TFB Forecast ETB across all social media. And if you can't watch us on the video side, you can listen to the football forecast and all of our ETB podcasts wherever you get your favorite podcasts. Well, guys, a lot to get into. Obviously, the best football weekend of the year, arguably the divisional playoffs. And we'll get to the 4 games, which are all great in their own way. But we do have a lot of other stuff to get into. 2 bits of news to start off the show. Last week, we spoke about the 8 teams that were looking for head coaches. Well, earlier in the week, we added a 9th team to that because Mike Tomlin did step down as the Steelers head coach after 19 years in the Steel City. And it's important to note as we talk about this to start the show this week that Tomlin was not fired. So the Steelers do retain his rights, and that is kind of significant because over the next 2 years, if a team wants Tomlin to be their head coach, they will have to make a trade. It's what we saw with Sean Payton back several years ago. But Nick, what did you make of all this? It was interesting because actually, before I get to you, let me just say this real quick. I thought after game 270, game 272 was going to tell a lot about 2 franchises. And if Tyler Luke would have kicked that field goal, and if it would have went through, maybe Tomlin would have been out a few days earlier. Instead, he gets another week, and he ends up stepping down anyway. But obviously, a lot of angles to take away from this. But what's your reaction?
Am I surprised that he stepped away? No. He's been with the team for 18 consecutive seasons. But first of all, the Steelers have had 3 coaches in their entire franchise existence, which, by the way, you want to talk about an incredible feat in the NFL. Like, I wish my Jets would be that way, but that's a whole different story for another day. But Tomlin's great. I think Tomlin got the job at age 31. I think he was young. He
was.
And you know what? I think he was a Minnesota coordinator before he got hired.
Yeah,
great guy.
I think he was hired. What was it, 2006 or 2007?
It was like 06, 07, somewhere in there. And you know what? He's an incredible coach. I think he kept his streak all the way to the end of 500 seasons. Well, until this season. But am I surprised? No. I think he's going to go to TV somewhere. Everyone's going to want him. He's going to be a hot commodity for TV, wherever that goes. He was never going to be fired. The Rooneys were never going to fire him as the coach. He could have remained the head coach if he wanted to of this organization. But you know what? I think this was right place, right time. They need a new coach. Who that's going to be, I have no clue. They've interviewed, 7 or 8 people, I think, already for the job. But you know what? Happy for Tomlin. He can go off to be on TV. I think he might come back at some point and coach, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, and that's why it's important that we mentioned that he stepped down, and that's important because, like I said, if a team does want him, whether that's next year, which I don't think it'll be next year, or even the year after, they will have to trade with the.
As Johnny dropped out.
Johnny's gone. Damn.
All right.
Go ahead, Tom.
All right. I guess I'll take over from here. As Johnny mentioned, the fact. Oh, hold on. I think
Let's see if we've got it back
One
here.
moment.
Well,
Hey!
that's the joy of live. And speaking of live, we are live on YouTube and stuff, so we do welcome your comments aboard as well. That's what I was trying to say, and then I got zapped. But
Yikes!
I didn't know Bailey Zappi was here.
No, he's always here. But yes, but we do welcome your comments on YouTube. If you have any comments about Tomlin or Harbaugh or any of the games, and we'll get to them over the course of the show. Zan, what did you make of all this?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I at first obviously didn't expect the Steelers to do it. I didn't know what they were going to do, but I think overall, though, I mean, besides maybe the last 6 or so playoff games, kind of like what I mentioned on Bander's breakdowns, I mean, his stability and consistency to always know that the Steelers were either in the thick of the AFC North title picture or in the playoff picture every year is something that you don't really see in this modern era of the NFL. So I think both sides kind of knew it was time for a change, and it's good to see that he wasn't fired, because I think that would have been the wrong way for him to go out. And I think, again, as you alluded to and as Nick Morganson alluded to as well, I think it'll be interesting to see whether he decides to go into broadcasting or stay in coaching. I think he still has the fire to coach. I just think it's more so which team could potentially be interested in him, number one, or number two. If he wants to sit out, I think a broadcast role would be good for him, because he knows a lot about the sport, obviously, from all of his years in Pittsburgh, and of course even prior to that, and he's very passionate about the NFL. So whatever decision he makes, I think is going to be the best decision for him. But you want to talk about hot commodities, he's certainly at the top of the list, along with the guy that we're going to talk about in a few minutes. So I think all of this is very interesting.
Tom.
The one thing that I will say in response to counteract Nick and Zan a little bit is there is sometimes a bit of a downside when saying, oh, the Steelers never fire coaches, because it's not part of the Steeler way. And that's not to take away and discredit everything Mike Tomlin has done, but the feeling is around certain places in the NFL and certain fans of Pittsburgh that it was a little more than overdue, or it was a little more time to get a fresh face into the head coach position over in Pittsburgh. But for Mike Tomlin, I'm not going to say that to discredit anything that he's done, because consistently a winning coach brought a Super Bowl title over to Pittsburgh and had another Super Bowl appearance to go along with that. He's definitely going to go into TV. I just think it's going to be interesting to see which brand he goes with, because of CBS seemed to be perfect, because that was always the home of the AFC up until a few years ago when every game became a free agent, and they just had Matt Ryan leave their station in order to take the new job with the Falcons, the president of football operations. But you throw him on that Fox broadcast, and then it's him, it's Terry Bradshaw, Michael Strahan, and Howie Long. You got a bunch of legends of the gridiron with that. So
not only that, Terry Bradshaw is a Steeler, so that
too.
That's true. Two legendary
Steeler.
I think it's going to be interesting to see if there. I think there will be a team who wants him and trades for him, a la Sean Payton. It's just hard to predict that because it could happen anytime in this offseason, the next offseason, or the offseason after that. It's hard to predict when you've got such a big coaching carousel going on right now, and you don't know who's going to get fired at the end of next season too. Season too.
And even this season really is not out of the woods just yet.
Right. That's why I included this one, just because the coaching carousel is so insane.
Yeah. Ben?
Yeah, I think pretty much everybody mentioned good points about it. This is very Bill Belichickian in a way, of which Bill, I think, had a really good rapport with the team for a long period of time, but I think by kind of the end of things, two very consistent coaches, it was just kind of new for a fresh start. I think another thing to kind of keep in mind is the coach is going to step out. Of course, Rodgers, I think, is basically done. So it's basically just complete new, fresh start of everything. And so I think that they're going to kind of take a look at evaluation. For me, I think Brian Flores is a very good fit for the Steelers. I just feel like he just kind of brings that embodiness to a team like that. We'll obviously have to see. But I do think that Mike Tomlin is very good for TV. And I think that at least for one season, he can kind of step back a little bit, kind of look at his evaluations, and I think he's going to have a very interesting Sean Payton-esque 2.0 the following year, which a lot of teams will be calling that will need obviously some help, including teams like this year that don't get a big time type of guy. I mean, say if Atlanta doesn't get a coach like that, maybe they get him like next year because they have a ton of talent. Maybe they could just get a coach like that. So it'll be interesting, but Tomlin had a really good run there, and time will tell in terms of where it goes next.
Grant?
Yeah, I'd actually like to allude to a little bit. I mean, alluding to what everyone said, you guys are absolutely right. Tomlin is a great coach, and he will probably take a year or two off, but I think he will eventually be back coaching. I just don't know where. Like all of us, we don't know. But I like to allude a little bit to what Ben was saying. I actually agree with Ben with what he was saying about how Brian Flores might be a good option. And yes, my fellow Bears fans in here, Zahn, might think that I am just trying to get him out of the NFC North, which is a little bit true, but that's not the full reason. But if you guys didn't know, Brian Flores did spend a season in Pittsburgh as a senior defensive assistant before he became the DC in Minnesota. So he knows the organization, at least. Now, is that what's going to happen? I don't know. We don't know. We only know what happened with the Giants, and they made the right decision, and we'll talk about that in a minute.
Yep, absolutely. Christy?
It's all of you guys are right. I mean, I think Tomlin's going to take at least a year or two off to do television. He would be great at any network, I think, because he just has that passion and all of that. And whether he wants to return to coaching, that's entirely up to him. I think it just depends on which team wants him bad enough, since the Steelers do still have his rights.
Yeah, and that's the thing. We don't know. It could be this year because it's tough to see. It's tough to see the 8. Well, right now it would be 8 teams. Well, actually, really, if you take the Steelers out, 7 teams that still need a head coach that are not Tomlin. Waiting another year because this is as good as a shot they're going to have. They're not going to waste away this year just for him to have the possibility of him next year. But we'll have to find out. I don't think we'll know, and I don't know what direction the Steelers are going to go in because we know the history of them, how they like to keep the consistency, a model of consistency with the 3 head coaches in their history. But they're going to have to go through a major change, but that's easier said than done. I mean, obviously with Aaron Rodgers, TJ Watt, a lot of money is on that defense, which is up there in age too. And it's also kind of fascinating to find the AFC North has 3 openings as a whole. So that whole AFC North is going to be wild. This whole NFL in the offseason is going to be wild. But we have a lot to talk about as far as the NFL.
Johnny, I think that's just emblematic of how this season has gone.
Yes.
For sure. Yeah. And the first domino of the now 9 teams fell late this week, and that was John Harbaugh. And we're still waiting for official word. I mean, it came out late Wednesday night that the Giants are expected to hire John Harbaugh as the head coach. Tom, I know you and I are both a Giant fans, so we'll talk first, and I guess I'll go first since I didn't really mention a whole lot on Tomlin. Look, this is a home run hire because the 2 things the Giants needed as a head coach first and foremost were leadership and experience, and that's what they get. And this comes 10 years and about 2 weeks after Tom Coughlin resigned, and it seems like the Giants have been looking for a successor for the longest time, and this guy could be the guy. And because we've seen them bringing in OCs, defensive OCs, DCs, and it not working out, and also not giving them long of a leash. But you bring in a guy that's got experience, that knows that has had success there in Baltimore, that has leadership, which this team needs in the worst way. We've talked about it a lot here on the show this season about how it seemed like the players fell apart under Brian Daboll. That's what it is. Now, as far as what this means for the Giants going forward, it definitely improves them. Look, this is a team that's got players already set up. A lot of these coaches that are going to go into other organizations don't have as much set up as the Giants do right now. They have their quarterback. They have their number 1 wide receiver. They have their running back. They have some solid players on the offensive line. They got some solid players on defense. So he's walking to a very, very good spot. Now, what he's also going to be running into here too at the same time, because people want to talk about this, does this make the Giants a playoff team? I think this makes them a better team. I'm not sure about a playoff team because we're still talking about an NFC East that has the Philadelphia Eagles, which I know they're going through a lot of dysfunction, going through 5 different offensive coordinators in 5 years, but they still got to be taken seriously. They got the Dallas Cowboys, who look at Dak Prescott always gives that team a chance to win. And they have the Washington Commanders, who are only a year removed from being in the NFC Championship game. So it's still a thing. And the schedule next year is a challenge. It's not as brutal as this year, but Tom, it is still a challenge going up against the NFC West, the AFC South, and obviously the own division. And the extra games are the Saints, the Lions, and the Browns.
Saints and Lions, I mean, the Saints and Browns could be winnable games. The Lions, that's brutal, especially if the Lions come back to the levels that they were last season. And it's not even just that, but Johnny, specifically talk about the schedule on the road. I think the Rams game is going to be on the road. I think the 49ers game is on the road. You're playing in some tough stadiums. It's definitely going to be more of a rebuild, but if there's one guy I trust who can lead this team, you talk about experience, who can lead this team and have the experience to do it, it is John Harbaugh. I would have been happy with John Harbaugh or Kevin Stefanski as the hire. So, I'm happy that things seem to be going in the right direction. I will say, if things somehow fall apart, the Giants will have a lot of egg on their face. And like you kind of said, Johnny, they need more time. The one thing I will give about, the short leashes is that when it came to McAdoo, when it came to Judge, you had one interesting season, but then the next season, everything fell right back apart again. And honestly, for the Giants, this has been longer than when Tom Coughlin stepped down. I think you've got to think back to 2013 when they started the season. What was it, like 1-7 or something like that? They didn't get their first win till facing the Vikings in late October, because that's when really the rebuild should have begun at that point. But like I said, they've been going through coach after coach after coach. What I'm going to say is, if John Harbaugh, you can say whatever about the way his tenure with the Ravens ended. You could say whatever about him not being able to get past a team like the Chiefs or the Bills. If John Harbaugh cannot help you guys as a head coach, no matter how long it takes, then you have bigger problems than a coach. At that point, Mara will have nobody to blame but himself. Mara and Tish will have nobody to blame but themselves. And then that's going to leave a very uncertain future for the franchise. But I'm going to believe. I believe in John Harbaugh, and I think this is the right decision.
Okay. And Christy?
I mean, I think the Giants made a smart decision hiring John Harbaugh. He has more experience. Hopefully he can work with, what they've got on offense. You've got 3 potential stars in Dart, Scatterboo, and Neighbors. You have a defense that has some good pieces. You just got to build it up. But does this make the Giants a Super Bowl playoff? No, but I do think it makes it better. Is you got pieces you can build around, and Harbaugh, I think, is pretty good at doing that. So I think he's a good fit.
Nick,
Johnny, I actually should add just one sentence because I forgot to say. I think what this does, to lead off of what Christy was saying, I think this justifies all the claims of the Giants being one of the most, if not the most coveted positions available in the head coach carousel.
Well, yeah, I mean, of the other 8 teams right now that are looking for an opening, what other team has those pieces already in place and a top draft pick too?
That too.
So think about that. Nick, you said that the Giants needed to go full steam, go out there. You would have taken a hit. You would have taken a hit from a car to make this happen.
Full press mode.
Yeah.
Full press mode. Oh,
they wined and dined him.
Well, they did. I think they had a meal with him the day before, but they did the same thing with Stefanski. They had him in a couple days before.
Yeah, but they didn't let Harbaugh's plane leave for Tennessee.
No,
right, exactly.
Well, he had interviews with Tennessee, and I think he had one with Atlanta.
Yeah,
I think, but The Giants were smart. They did not let him leave the building, essentially, and that was the right move because he supposedly was supposed to be the first interview. I don't think that happened. I think he went to Tennessee and Atlanta first, but they had to make this move because their coaching staff the last couple of years has been a dumpster fire. Sorry, I know there's Giants fans in here, but
it has been. You're not wrong.
But if you look at the way their situation was the past couple of years, they just look lost. And Mike Kafka was never going to be the head coach of this team. It never was going to happen. So they needed to make a splashy hire. There was only a couple guys out there. It was either Harbaugh, Stefanski. I don't think you guys were going after McCarthy. I think that would have been a mistake.
Yeah,
Too old.
That too, and I think out of touch, really.
Yeah, I think Harbaugh and Stefanski were your only choices. And I think Stefanski's a little bit overrated, for my opinion's sake. Because I understand he was 2-time coach of the year, but being 2-time coach of the year, if you don't have anything to show for it, then what's the point of being 2-time coach of the year? It means nothing.
Granted, not all his fault.
Agreed. Trust me, the Browns organization and the Haslam ownership is a complete dumpster fire.
I don't even know why the Browns are an organization. I don't think they deserve.
I don't get it either.
All right, let me just finish up. With this. Yeah, great hire. I think it's great. Are they good? I'm hearing wild things that they say they're going to go from 4 to 11 wins. Let's pump the brakes, please, a little bit. If they go to 8 wins, I think that's a successful season. If they go from 4 to 8, and they would have the potential chance to make a wild card at 8 to 9 wins. So I'd be happy if that's what happened for the Giants next year.
Sure. Stan?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is the best hire they could have made, and I think something that maybe you guys have I guess implied it, but I think a big reason why this hire could potentially work is John Harbaugh knows what it's like to win a Super Bowl, and he knows what it's like to make the playoffs consistently, which is something that the Giants have not really done over the last decade plus. You have to go back to the early 2010s to really figure out the last time the Giants were actually good, minus maybe that one 2022 season. But nonetheless, though, I think it was a good hire, and as a bunch of us have already alluded to, them persuading him and them pushing him and them making sure that he didn't leave the facility is critical. And assuming that they can get the deal done, I think very, very well said by Nick M. It's a home run hire, and I hope it works out because when the Giants are better, the NFC East is better, and in turn, the NFL is better overall. So,
yep, Ben.
Ben, you're muted.
Oh,
thank you.
There
guys.
you go.
3 things. Not that. Number 1, I'm happy for Johnny, and I'm very happy for Tom because they were talking about it last week, and this was a slam dunk, as you guys were mentioning. This definitely reminds me of Mike Grable with my Patriots this past offseason, and I do think that Darn is the long-term answer. I really like what he's brought, and now it's obviously up to Joe Shane in terms of what's next. Number 2, I think that on Football Forecast next year, Tom won't have to go crazy with the coaching videos because you guys actually have a good coach.
There won't be too many Giants country let's rides, I hope.
And number 3 is I really do like too how John Harbaugh has embraced saying that he's ready to take on the NFC East. That was something that he liked because it's a very tough division, and the fact that he said that, especially with he has experience in AFC North, I think it brings a lot just outside the actual hire itself. So there's just so many really good things for you guys as Giants fans to like, and I think for NFL fans, it's a very good hire for them.
Absolutely. And Grant.
So, I mean, like everyone has alluded to, I mean, John Harbaugh was honestly the belle of the ball this cycle. And it's not, and honestly, I mean, he is a Super Bowl winning coach, but also, I mean, there was no other place for him to really go. When you look at what the other teams that are available had, maybe besides the Falcons, I guess, because they have some pieces, but I would say, when you look at the Giants, they have pieces on both sides of the ball with the offense and defense. I read somewhere that it's supposed to his contract isn't finalized, but it's supposed to be like 5 years, $100 million or something like that, which is
Wow.
totally. He deserves it. He deserves it. And I also read that he is also expected to bring along Todd Monken with him.
This is OC.
His OC. Yeah.
Okay.
Which he was first the coordinator for Georgia before he left for the Ravens, and then he tailors his offense to Lamar Jackson. So he's going to tailor his offense to Jackson Dart. Now, what you need to do is protect him. But one thing that I love about this hire for the Giants is it brings stability, because there has for the last couple of years, or last couple of coaches, it's been like 2 years and then you're out. You're gonna at least have John Harbaugh for 4 years at least. So
Yeah, you would
I
think
am
so, yeah.
very, very excited for Giants fans.
Well, yeah, and look, just to because I know some people are really up there, and there are some that are still hating on it, which is I'm not going to go into. I'm right there in the. Me personally, I'm in the middle because it's definitely like Grant said, stability is there, but there's still a lot of work that has to be done with this roster, and there's still a challenging division and a challenging schedule. So you may not get the results immediately in year one, like we've seen maybe with like a Vrabel there in New England, or like a Liam Cohen or a Ben, or for you, Grant and Zan, a Ben Johnson. It may not happen in year one. It might take him 2 years, but you have the pieces there. You're not starting from the ground. That's the thing that he does have an advantage in, is that he's got some pieces already, and he's got the 5th pick. I think it's the 5th pick, right?
Yes.
So, I mean, he's definitely off to a good start. So we'll see. And, now the first domino – I'm sorry, Tom, real quick.
Yeah, no, I'm just wondering, you're talking about all the pieces around him and talk about Joe Shane. I just wonder what's going to happen with Joe Shane. Is there going to be a point where, maybe he gets fired during Harbaugh's run?
Well,
I think it's more of an exciting space.
That could
probably,
be possible.
And I think that's the one thing that's kind of holding this up a little bit is either the language or like the power situation that Harbaugh is going to have.
I read that. I think that's the issue.
It is.
And that'll
That has to be it.
The thing now to watch here, and maybe we'll know this when we're on next week, is now that the first domino has fallen, what happens next? Who goes where next? That's going to be because usually when one goes, the next one follows really, really soon. Even though there's been a lot of interviews that have been happening here in the last few days.
I could give you a hot take for who I think it's going to be.
Make it real quick, Grant. Go ahead.
I think it might be Stefanski to the Falcons.
Yeah, see, he's the biggest name out there. Him and McDaniel's been getting interviews for head coach.
And it's actually not because of the fact that he's a 2-time coach of the year. It's because of his familiarity with Kirk Cousins. Because Michael Penix is probably not going to be playing next season because of his torn ACL. So you're going to have to roll with Cousins. Why not give him a coach that he is known and played for?
We'll see. We'll definitely talk about that either on this show or on all of our shows in the offseason. But nevertheless, you know what? We still have playoff football. We still got to get through this season.
Yeah.
We still have
got 4 games right now.
Arguably the best weekend of the football calendar coming up.
By the way, shout out over 300 people watching us live currently right now.
Let's get to 400 now.
Thank you all for tuning in. And again, we welcome
you, everybody.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Welcome your comments as we do this show live. If you have any comments on Tomlin, on Harbaugh, or any of the 4 games that are happening this divisional weekend. But let's get to the games itself, because I'll tell you, it's an epic weekend coming up. And real quick, a great week, a great last week for all of us. We all went at least 500. Tom and all of us on this show did hit the lock last week. So way to go, guys. Yes. I'll tell you what, and it's funny how we struggle in the regular season and then the playoffs come and everybody does pretty well. Tom,
the law of averages, right?
Yeah.
It is the law of averages. Tom, Ben, and Grant all went 5-1 and hit the locks. So they scored 16 points last week. Nick, Zan, Mike, and Christy went 4-2 and scored 10. And
nice.
Nick D and myself went 3-3. I did hit the lock, so I got 8 points, and Nick D got 6 last week. So let's see what we can do. Are we ready for the best football weekend, arguably, of the year?
Let's go.
Yes, sir. Let's do it.
All right,
go.
let's do this thing for the divisional playoffs in the NFL. Christy, we started off with a Jim Nance, Tony Romo, Tracy Wolfson special on CBS as we go to Empower Field and Mile High and a rematch of the wild card round from last year. Now this happens a round later this year as Josh Allen's Buffalo Bills take on Bo Nix and the Denver Broncos. And the Broncos at home are 1.5-point favorites and the total 45.5.
We got the Bills coming off a win against the Jaguars and the Broncos. I mean, it's Empower Field, Mile High. It's Denver. It's the Rocky Mountain air, everything. The Bills I think it's going to be tough, but I'm going to go out on a limb. I'm going to take the over on this. I can't pick a team in this situation.
Okay.
I just
Nick?
think a lot of points are going to get scored.
Yeah, this game is like very like iffy, but you know what? I think with Josh Allen, I think he survived last week barely against a Jaguars team that played really good in the playoffs. If it wasn't for the defense holding them up, we might be talking about the Jaguars instead of the Bills this time around. But I think going to Denver, going to Mile High, I think it's going to be a difficult game. Do I think Bo Nix is going to have the most incredible game of all time? No. It's his first playoff game. So there's going to be some rookie woes that come with being in your first playoff game. But I just think the defense is going to dismantle Buffalo, which doesn't have weapons. They lost someone to injury last week. Who did they lose last week?
Gabe Davis and Terrell. I forgot his last name. But they called up. They're bringing back Curtis Samuel, and they called up Elijah Moore.
But they their wide receiver room is just a mess right now, currently. And I don't think Josh Allen has enough weapons. So I'm riding with the Broncos. Take the money. I think they find a way to win by a field goal or so.
Zan.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to disagree with both of you guys so far. I'm riding with the hot hand, and I'm riding with the Bills for one reason and one reason only. Josh Allen has playoff experience, but Bo Nix does not. I think it's going to be a very good game, but I just think Denver has not won the big games and the big moments this season. And the one big game they had, as I mentioned very, very, very passionately on my latest edition of Bandos Breakdown, it's the one game that they needed to win to show that they were legit was against Jacksonville, and they couldn't do it. So with all those reasons aside, give me the Bills to at least cover it on the road.
Tom?
I do like the idea of the Bills on the road because I've talked about it last week that the Bills have playoff experience, and that's what ultimately I feel like this playoffs, as crazy as it is and as crazy as this NFL season is, comes down to. You have the Bills who have playoff experience. You have the Rams who have playoff experience. The one concern I do have, I think about the Bills and the wildness of some of these games, like last week against Jacksonville, or I think back to last month against your Patriots, Ben, how they had to come from behind. Eventually, the Bills like to play from behind, but it seems like eventually the one fear I have, I should say, about that is eventually you play that one team that makes it really difficult and can ultimately be too much. Now, as much as Bo Nix does not have the playoff experience, the Broncos are such a powerhouse that maybe they can be that one team. And as much as you talk about, Nick, you say the wide receiver room is a mess, still have some experience there with the likes of Curtis Samuel. And should have mentioned it last week. I think I mentioned it in December anyway. Brandon Cooks. My God, what a pickup. That was an insanely smart move by Buffalo. So while I do think Buffalo does win this game, that's not going to be my play. I think this is going to be an exciting game. I think this is going to be a back and forth game. Two offensive powerhouses. Give me the over. Lock it in.
Whoa. Wasn't ready.
Okay. And by the way, folks, this is the last week that locks are available for the season. Since next week, there will only be 2 games and only a certain number of plays possible for the lock. Ben?
So I'm taking a gamble in this game. And it's not locked specifically on this type of pick, but I'm actually going to go the under here in this game. And I think it's partly because the Broncos, you don't know specifically how they're going to be coming off of the bye week. We have seen in the past with a lot of teams now that have had the bye week that is not. They've been coming rusty. You don't know specifically how it's going to be. And with Bo Nix, you don't really know what you're going to get out of him against a very good team in Josh Allen, the Bills, on the other side of things. But for the Bills, they're very banged up. And I do think the Broncos are going to have a very similar game plan in which Jacksonville had, and that is to stop James Cook, in which is their best offensive plan. So what that tells me specifically is I think it's going to be a very tight overall game. If I had to pick a team, I actually would pick the Bills here, but I think it's going to be under. I think it's going to be like a 20-17 type of game, and because the Broncos to me specifically are kind of a wild card. I know obviously they've been good all year, but for some odd reason that 45.5, I'm going to take the under here.
Grant.
Yeah, I mean, I do like what Ben said. I agree with everything that he said, but at the same time, with the offense, even with everything that he said, the offensive powerhouses, I just think will overpower everything that happens. So, and when you're at a point where you're at a 1.5 point difference, it's a pick 'em game, and both these teams are so great that I can't pick a team. So I'm gonna take the over.
Okay. Wow, I love this. We are in different directions with their teams or totals. I'll tell you right now, my 4 plays for the 4 games, I have a favorite, I have a dog, I have an over, and I have an under. So which one we're going to cross off?
That was my original plan, Johnny, but then some changes have had to happen.
Well, the play that of all those choices, the one I'm going to knock off here is the favorite. I'm taking the Broncos, and the reason why is there's one obvious reason to back the Bills, and that's Josh Allen. But he's hobbled, and so many injuries now on that receiving side. This would be the ultimate heroic Superman move if Allen can pull it off, and he certainly can. Look, I'm certainly ready to be prepared at about 7:30 Eastern on Saturday night to be totally proven wrong that Allen could do this again. But there's just a lot more reasons why it's more favorable for the Broncos. The extra rest, the mile-high air. They have a Super Bowl winning head coach who's trying to make history, and they have and of all the units in this game, they have the best one, and that is their defense. Now, last week, I would have went with the Bills. I took the total, but I would have went with the Bills because I went with the better player over the better team. But this Broncos defense is a step up in class versus what Allen played last week, because not only can the Broncos stop the run like the Jaguars did last week and all season, but they can get to the quarterback. They lead in many metrics: sacks, pressures, quarterback hits. But on the other side of things, the Broncos offense is not as strong as what the Bills had to play. But Sean Payton will know to run it some more against the Bills' poor defense. That's what was one of the reasons why the Jaguars lost last week, is because Liam Cohen stopped running it late. I just don't think that Peyton will be like that. And this defense is a step up in class for the Bills. So I'm going to take the money there. So it is a true split decision here in game 1, which is what it should be here in the playoffs. Zan, a Kevin Burkhardt, Tom Brady, Aaron Andrews, and Tom Rinaldi special on Fox Saturday night at Lumen Field. For the 3rd time this season, we've got Brock Purdy and the 49ers taking on Sam Darnold and the Seahawks, and it's the Seahawks, a touchdown favorite.
It's going to be
there is something. Hold on, I need to throw the red alert in here.
Okay.
Because there is something about this situation.
Okay.
Reading from NFL.com. Seattle Seahawks quarterback Sam Darnold has been added to the team's injury report with an oblique injury and is officially questionable for Saturday's divisional round game against the 49ers.
And one more thing, just to add to that, it's on his throwing side.
No.
And also,
That's even worse.
I'll add one more thing to that. It has happened Thursday in practice, and remember, they're playing Saturday night. So this is almost like if it was a Friday for Sunday instance. Correct. But now you're talking about a Thursday for Saturday. So Zan, take that all in.
Sorry, Johnny. One more thing. Darnold is saying that he will play, But they did note on Thursday's practice, Drew Lock got some first-team reps.
Yeah, and there's been, as of now, no line movement regarding that situation. So, Zan, take that all in, and what are you doing?
Sure, it actually doesn't change my pick at all because I like the 49ers to cover the number. Actually, I saw a tweet somewhere, I think it was Bleacher Report's betting account saying the 49ers are the most bet on team this weekend, and I can totally understand why. It seems like Seattle's momentum is starting to slip. If Darnold does play, if he doesn't play, whatever the case is, you got to ride with the hot hand, and I was burned in this past week thinking that the Eagles would beat the 49ers. I was completely wrong. And that, as long as Christian McCaffrey stays upright, I think it's going to be a great game. I'm not sure if the 49ers will win this game to go to the NFC Championship, but you're asking for them to lose by 7 points or less. I really like that. So give me the 49ers to at least cover the number on the road.
Tom?
Zan, I'll take that victory. I told y'all last week that the 49ers were going to win.
I know you did.
I told you it was going to happen.
I took that too. Yeah.
I'm so happy I was perfect in my wild card round bracket, and then I picked the Seahawks to win, and now officially Sam Darnold's questionable. Maybe Johnny, maybe you and I are on the same page with the one of each, because I was tempted to take the Seahawks, but with that injury, I'm going to take the 49ers plus 7. Do I think the Seahawks can still pull off this victory, especially if Sam Darnold is not 100% but still plays? Absolutely. But I feel like the 49ers, the one concern I have is that Week 18 game that determined the division champion number 1 seed. The 49ers did not look great. The Seahawks had their way with them from pillar to post. But Sam Darnold, who is not at 100%, really rocks my confidence in this team to the point where I still think the Seahawks can win, but there's a chance, it's going to be less than a touchdown and extra point. I think we're going to see, especially since it's the playoffs and especially with the injuries on both sides, a pretty closely contested game.
Tom, could you see overtime or no?
I could.
Right.
Okay.
So we got 2 49er plays so far. Ben?
Does anybody know the weather in Seattle, by the way, for Saturday?
You need Tom the weatherman?
Right. Oh, man.
Looks like 49 degrees. 49 degrees. And looks
high of 51,
clear.
Low of 37.
Yeah, that would have been around my guess, too.
Okay. All right. So back that. I mean, I love the Niners pick, and honestly, I would have going to rock with the Niners even if Sam Darnold was healthy, because you see specifically these two teams, it's a division type of game. They're always close. And I think with the Niners, that you kind of can see the Niners were a 6-point underdog last week against the Eagles. I went with Zan, and I picked the Eagles, and they burned me out. So I'm not doing that another time. I am going to go with the Niners here. They still got McCaffrey. Give credit, by the way, to Kyle Shanahan and being able to kind of game plan the walk-in wooded team he's had every single week. I don't think many coaches will be able to do that. I mean, it's third time around now, so I think that both teams are going to have a game plan and kind of have a test battle, and I like the Niners here to at least cover the number. And if they win, they win. So,
Grant?
Yeah. I think that Darnold will play. It is crucial that he was added to the injury report yesterday, or at least when we were recording this. But I do believe that this game is going to be close because of the fact that these two teams have seen each other so many times already. So I'm going to take the 49ers to at least cover the number. I do think that the Seahawks will win. I do think they will pull off the win, but I don't know if I can see them winning by a touchdown. I could probably see them winning by 3 or 4 points.
Okay. Ben, that's exactly why, to me, Kyle Shanahan is the coach of the year this year, because of all the man games that team has lost and how he's been able to do that. And Robert Saleh has been an awesome coordinator, which is why he's also getting head coaching possibility interviews as well. Gosh, it's so tricky. And even before the Sam Darnold injury, this game was so difficult to pick because I feel like it does feel like you have to take the Niners in this spot, because getting a touchdown in the playoffs, a divisional game for the third time this year, even though this game's in Seattle. But both these teams have unbelievable defenses, and that is why my lock of the week is the under 45. I mean, it's. I mean, look, when these teams met 2 weeks ago in Santa Clara, the Seahawks put on a masterclass defensively against Brock Purdy, who had been playing so well up until that point. And then the Niners defense has put on a clinic for the most part, despite the numerous injuries to this unit. But also with George Kittle being out, that does take a big piece out of the 49er offense. So that they're not going to score there. But given how the first two meetings went and how the 49ers and the Seahawks play on defense, absolutely I see this being an under. And this is even an under to me where if somebody blows out the other team, I don't see how they combined get to 45. So even if let's say one of these teams dominate the other and win like 27-13, that still hits the under. So there's plenty of reasons for me. I'd be shocked if this gets into a back and forth decent scoring game. So instead of picking a team because it's tempting to take the Niners, and I just don't know because especially that matchup 2 weeks ago and the Kittle injury, how that does really affect the 49ers offensively, I'm going to take the under and lock it. All right, Christy, what do you got?
I mean, the Darnold injury does change a lot of things, and Kittle being injured too, same thing. It changes a lot of things, which is why I don't feel comfortable taking either one, even though I don't doubt either could win by a touchdown, but I'm taking the under.
Yeah, and I forgot to mention also too, with the injury to Darnold too, that probably makes him more of a ground attack for Seattle. And we know how McCaffrey is on the Niners side. So what does that mean? More clock getting eaten up and fewer points and fewer possessions too.
Yep.
Nick?
It's true.
I think this line's playing a trick on you, partially. Like no, I mean that sincerely. I think they were trying to push you to take the Niners. This is one of those where I think it's a trick, and they're begging you to bet the Niners. If Darnold's not hurt, this is easy for me, and I'd be taking Seattle. No issue. If he's 100% healthy, he doesn't have the oblique issue on his throwing side, which Johnny said it's going to lead to a more ground and pound attack from Seattle. Because I am a little worried about the Niners. Even though the Niners are playing great, Kyle Shanahan does deserve Coach of the Year votes by far. He definitely deserves it. He's done more with more injuries than anybody has the entire year. Now, is Trent Williams 100% healthy? I don't think so. Is Ricky Pearsall 100% healthy? I don't think so. George Kittle out with the torn Achilles. He's done. That's a massive injury. They're going to have to rely. They're going to have to rely on McCaffrey more than anybody out there. And at some point, that eventually is going to dry up. At some point, because if I'm Seattle, I'm stacking that box 5 times over to stop McCaffrey so that he doesn't get the ball. But this is too risky for me. I don't know if the Seahawks will cover. I think they will win. I just don't know by what. I'm taking the under because I don't think a lot of points are going to be scored in this game, especially if Darnold can't air the ball out. I think that takes away some of the scoring, so under.
Can I counter a question for Nick?
Yeah.
Okay. You're talking about that with CMC. You don't think the 49ers might do the same for Ken Walker and Zach Charbonnet when Seattle has to go to that kind of attack?
Same strategy on each side. You can stack the box on both sides, which in theory then backs up my point that not as many points are not going to score because they're not going to be able to air the ball out in any other way.
And Lumen Field is still a very dangerous place to play, and especially now and elevated in the postseason. We'll find out. It'll be a fun one there on Saturday night. All right, Ben, speaking of fun for you, it is in fact a Joe Buck, Troy Aikman, Lisa Salters, and Laura Rutledge special on ESPN and ABC. As we head to Foxborough, we've got C.J. Stroud and the Houston Texans taking on Drake May and your New England Patriots. And at Gillette Stadium, the Pats a field goal favorite.
Yeah. It'll be tough. The Texans defense is by far the best defense in football. They are a juggernaut. I mean, I saw that game on Monday. They fly around every single time a pass is thrown. They got good secondary guys. But it's really ironic that we get this matchup, and it's in Drake's first year in the playoffs. One of Drake's first opponents as a quarterback was against the Texans, and he did a pretty decent job, all things considered. After Jacoby Brissett, it was one of his first games that Drake played after Jacoby was the apparent to it. He had a couple mistakes. I mean, you cannot have it against this type of team. But there's a couple things I look at, and this is why I have the Patriots winning this game. No Nico Collins. I think that is an absolute massive loss. Because now you have Christian Gonzalez, who was on the injury report this week. He will play, and you're going to be able to kind of put him on Christian Kirk. You're telling me Christian Kirk is going to go absolutely crazy against Christian Gonzalez? I'd take Gonzo anytime matchup-wise. Christian Kirk was our best player last week, and no discredit to Christian Kirk. He's a good player, but I think that the Patriots could be able to stack up against the Texans receivers. And CJ Stroud had a lot of what are you doing type of stuff in last week's game. And that's the other game that really worried me a lot. And so the Patriots defense, the Texans have a good defense. People want to glaze about the Texans defense, which I understand about. The Patriots defense is right there right now. So it's going to be an absolute chess battle, specifically on the defensive side of things, which tells me right now, this is my lock of the week on the under. There's going to be not a lot of points. Both defenses are going to go at it, but the Patriots will win. And I have the AFC East of the Bills, Patriots, AFC Championship game.
By the way, that's a solid lock too. Taking the under, that's a very solid play because even if it's a 3-point game, you win. I mean, you'd win the game obviously, but you wouldn't win your lock. So that's a very solid play. Grant.
Yeah, I mean, Ben was absolutely right. The Patriots had the easiest schedule in the NFL, and this has been their hardest game in their season so far. And I mean, you gotta defend guys like Danielle Hunter, Will Anderson, without Will Campbell, who was a great left tackle leading up to his injury. I have to say that. And I do believe that the Patriots will win, but with how good both these offenses and defense, I'm going to say just defenses, because the Patriots have a good offense, but I don't think the Texans have that great of an offense. So I am going to go the under as well, but I'm not going to make it my lock.
Okay. I've been all in on this Texans defense all season. I mean, even from the 0-3 start to now in the divisional round, nothing is slowing them down. But can an MVP candidate on his home turf break through? And then on the other hand, can CJ Stroud do enough to give the defense a breather? You guys have said it. This is the toughest task that the Patriots have faced all season, and this is the toughest matchup that Drake May has played in his career, because he's never played a team like the Texans that have a top 5 scoring and a top 5 total defense entering the week. Now, we saw last week against the Chargers' top 10 defense, May was good, but not great. And it can't be stated enough how good this defense is for the Texans. They have 4 players that have 4 interceptions each, and I'm just not convinced that May is going to fare well against this pass rush and secondary. So, as I've said, Houston's got a Super Bowl caliber defense. I think they're going to take one step closer to that actually happening. And if not, I'm getting a field goal too. This could even be a situation where it might be even less than 3 points. But I'm going with the Texans. I said to Ben before the playoffs started, they avoided the Texans in the first round and that was a good thing because I felt like this was a nightmare matchup. I still think it is. I think the Texans keep it in there, and if not, even win outright there in Foxborough. So give me the dog. That's my dog. It's the Texans. Christy?
Look, both teams' defenses are really good.
Hey.
No, I'm not making fun of that, by the way.
No, one second. I was just going to say to Ben, the Patriots can win 20-18, and you and
I know.
That way. So you know what? That's
I respect
that too.
No hard feelings.
No, absolutely. No, nothing personal. Hey, listen, you know what? Let's make it 20-18 so that you and I can both win that way. How's that?
That works.
All right, I'm sorry, Christy. Go ahead.
That's okay. No, I mean, you're right about the Texans defense. It's really, really tough. But the Patriots, they're just as good, and Drake May is a heck of a quarterback. So I'm going to do this. I'm taking the Patriots. They're my lock of the week.
Nick.
All right, so the Patriots have been great. Zan can back me up. I said this on ETB Sports. I think we talked about this last week on Forecast.
We both loved New England since about week 5 or 6.
Yeah. Actually, that's right. Yeah, you and I have liked them since week 5, week 6. I think they've been a spectacular team. If May doesn't get a bunch of MVP votes, I think that's a disservice to the NFL. I think
so too.
I think he deserves it. Stafford is going to win. I'm just going to say that now. Stafford is going to win. He's had an incredible year. But if Drake May's not second right behind him, I think that's unfair. If the votes don't show him right behind. And he might get some first place votes too, depending on the region of the country. But the Texans are a great defense. No one's debating that. If they're going to win this game, it's going to be on defense. It's not going to be on offense. CJ Stroud has scared me. I've said that over the years. Tom can defend me on that. I've said CJ Stroud is kind of like a heart attack quarterback. Like, what was it? What was it last week? He had 2 interceptions and 2 fumbles, I think, last week. And somehow he survived.
2 interceptions, 2 fumbles, and one of them was an ugly one inside the red zone too.
So
the reason the score was what it was last week was because of Pittsburgh. The Texans defense in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, the only reason they won was the Texans defense. I think the Patriots are going to come out and play an incredible game. I think now that May's got the shivers out from game 1, I think he's going to come out and I think they're going to have a much better offensive scheme. He's going to have to be quicker in the pocket because if you saw last week with Aaron Rodgers and the Steelers, Aaron didn't have enough time to escape outside the pocket. They were bull rushing Aaron Rodgers last week. So if I'm the Patriots, you got to get that ball moving a good 3 or 4 seconds faster out of that pocket, or you're going to get sacked like crazy this upcoming week.
Push it down the field.
But I think the Patriots are going to win. The offense is better. I think this comes down to offenses because, like you said, Ben, both defenses are great, and I think they're going to match up. But if it comes down to offenses, the Patriots are way better. So I'm going to take the Patriots to cover.
Zan?
Yeah, I hate how much I love this New England pick. They're at home. I have them going to the Super Bowl. By the way, spoiler alert, my Super Bowl prediction is still alive, at least for this week, so we have to keep it rolling in some regard. Give me New England to cover the number. I think Drake May just outduels CJ Stroud. That over-under number is scary, but I will say this, and I'm going to make a bold prediction. I think whoever has the ball last is going to win the game, but give me New England at home. So
I don't think that's that bold, honestly. I think you're correct.
I don't think it's bold. No, I think you're right.
Well, I think it's bold, and it's the kind of the narrative around this game is that both defenses are so good that maybe the offense won't be the story of the game, and I actually think it will be. So we'll see.
Well, the over/under number tells you it's going to be a defensive battle when you look at it. So
there might be snow in Foxborough on Sunday.
Well,
Even
I'm sure
better.
that's not going to be a problem for the Patriots.
That's true. There is weather up in the northeast area. Tom?
Okay.
Thank you.
Yikes.
Honestly, the joke that you Ben and Johnny made about the 2018, and then both of you, and honestly, that's very realistic for this kind of matchup, especially if there is snow in the weather report. Now I just hope that doesn't end up being as it ends up not being as drastic as things were, because that Chicago game, talked about how it could be cold and snowy, and man, was that a disappointment from what I was expecting.
Yikes.
As far as this game goes, I mean, Nick kind of mentioned it. Nick, I completely understand, agree with. This is going to be a game that's going to be a complete defensive battle. It's going to be won with defense in the case of the Texans. Going up against an MVP candidate like Drake May is obviously going to be a tough battle, but you think of the Pats Chargers and how much a bunch of us were locking the Patriots with that line. And even then, the game only ended up, what was the final score? Something like 16-7 or 9 or something like that?
Yeah.
It's great.
Oh, 16-3. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Well, 3.
Huh.
Okay, 3.
Okay.
My point being, for a game that had the line that it did, and for a game where the Pats were the clear favorite, that was still a low-scoring game. So even though this over-under line is only 40.5, it's the lowest of these 4 games, this game still screams to me under. This is going to be my underplay, because I think the Texans have the opportunity to win. I think they can with that defense that's there. But if the Pats were only managed to score what they did and do what they did against the Chargers, which is a team that they were clearly better against and had all the not a great offensive line, going up against a tough defense like the Texans, I could see this being a very low-scoring game, especially if it ends up being snowy.
We'll find out. And
You
Ben,
know really quickly too, Johnny, and I'm sorry to cut you off, but I think if there's any coach that can kind of go toe to toe right now with D'Amico Ryans and the overall style of play, it's Mike Vrabel.
Solid point.
It's a solid point. Yep, we'll find out. And by the way, Ben, the more that things change, the more they stay the same. Here are the New England Patriots on a Sunday afternoon at home, and we got a Buck Aikman special for them. I mean, at this time on ESPN. So the more that things change, the more they stay the same. Should be epic. And by the way, good luck to you on Sunday. I'll be thinking of you as I watch this game live there in Foxborough. And then Grant, we'll end the week with you. It is, in fact, a Mike Tirico, Chris Collinsworth, Melissa Stark, Kaylee Hartung special on NBC as we head to what will be frigid Soldier Field, as we've got Matt Stafford and the Rams taking on Caleb Williams and yours and Zan's Bears. And it is the Rams laying 4.5 with a 48.5 point total. Grant, we know who you're rooting for, but what is your play in this game?
Well, to be honest with you, man, Johnny, this game has to be whoever I pick has to be my lock of the week because I didn't do my lock of the week yet. But here's my thing. So Matthew, I want to spill out some stats here for a little bit before I make my pick, and I'll make it quick.
All right, go quick.
Matthew Stafford, before he was on the Rams, he was playing on the Lions. And you guys might be wondering why am I mentioning that? Because the Lions have played in a dome for the longest time. And now that Matthew Stafford is in LA, he's playing in warm weather. You're coming to Chicago, you're going to be playing in like 0 temperature. And Matthew Stafford has played horrible in frigid temperature. So I am taking the Bears, and it's also my lock of the week.
And you're getting 4.5 points. So, I mean.
And honestly, I think that's a little high. I think it could be very close.
Grant, I'll tell you this. This number actually jumped up a point on Friday.
Oh.
So, something to keep in mind. Zan?
Yeah, I'm going in a little bit of a different direction here. I actually do think the cold weather temperatures in Chicago are going to play a factor. I'm not going to say as far as to say that the Bears are my lock of the week, but I'm actually going to go in a way that I think a lot of people may have not expected before I'm about to say it. I actually really like a total here, and my lock of the week and my final play for divisional weekend is the under in the Bears game. I actually think that this weather is really going to play a factor, and I think that special teams is going to determine who wins this game late, and I think it's going to be one of those games where a fumble, a blocked punt, or an interception is going to make all the difference regardless of who wins. But my pick in this game is the under, and I think it's going to be one of those games where you just kind of look at the score, and it's going to be one of those games where it's going to be, well, when is this game going to be over? Because it feels like it's taking forever. So give me the total.
Wow, that is an interesting play and an analyst there, Zan, because I think this game is going to actually get up there. And I know the cold weather might be a reason why you would take the under, but I'm going over, and I'm going over because both of these teams' defenses, the Rams' defense has not played well the last several weeks. I mean, look at how the Panthers did against them. It's been a while now. That secondary for the Rams has not looked good over the last couple of weeks, which is not a good thing when you look at how the Bears have been playing and how teams have not been able to put away Caleb Williams and the Bears. So, and also the Bears defense is giving up a lot of points too. Now, to Grant's point, Matt Stafford is definitely a different quarterback playing in cold weather. And if there is winter weather, which I don't think it is supposed to be, but if that is a factor, then you can forget about it.
It's going to be really cold. It's going to be really cold.
That's all it's supposed to be. There's no winter weather involved. So yeah, cold weather is definitely going to be the thing. I mean, if there was winter weather, I'd say forget about it. But this offense, though, is red hot going up against a not-so-hot defense. But Caleb Williams has been playing well in clutch moments going up against cold defenses too. So, yeah, and because that number is under 49, so that's under a 7-touchdown mark, that's another reason why I will trend to the over in this game. I just think with the LA defense and how they've scored lately, and then their defense and the clutch ability of the Bears. I mean, maybe the cold weather will slow them down a little bit, but not enough. So yeah, I will take the over. Now, if I was to take it on the spread, I would take the Bears. I don't know outright, but I'd take them to cover the number. But I'm just not comfortable taking a team in this game, but I'm more comfortable with the total. So let's go over.
Okay.
All right, Christy, what do you have?
I mean, Rams are going to put up points. The Bears are going to hang in there. I don't feel comfortable picking either team, even though, Rams are pretty good. So I'm taking the over.
Nick.
I have to do it anyway because it's my last pick left. I'm taking the Rams, and it's not. Grant, hear me out, because there's no way you can lock the Bears in this game. The Rams are the favorite. They have more offensive weapons. The quarterback is better than the current quarterback. Stafford's the MVP this year. And by the way, the Packers imploded, giving up 25 points in the fourth quarter. The Bears didn't deserve to win that game. I'm sorry.
I don't care what you say.
Grant, tell me otherwise. Tell me otherwise how the Bears won that game.
Hey, all I'm gonna say is I haven't dealt with as much crap as the Jets, but I've dealt with
Grant, what does that have to do with this pick now? What sorry, the Packers completely imploded, and that's what happened there. Sorry, the Bears didn't deserve to win that game. The Rams are going to come out. The offense is better. They have better offensive weapons on the wide receiver core. And Stafford, it doesn't matter what the weather is in the playoffs. The playoffs are a different animal. So forget the weather. The weather means nothing to me at this point. The Bears are going to cover. The Rams are going to cover. They're going to win this game. And unfortunately, the Bears are going to be out.
Wow, so we have 3 locks in 3 different directions here so far. Tom?
Wow.
So since, Johnny, you and I have been going over similar plays, 1 over, 1 under, and such, the only one left favorite for me is the favorite. So I'm going to take the Rams. Now, the thing about taking the Rams is because of this line. Because if this was a -7 like the other NFC game, I would actually have picked the Bears with the underdog. Because do you remember what I said to the Rams last week? What was my prove me play? Prove to me you can dominate against a team like an 8-9. They failed. Not only did they fail, they almost lost that game. I'm going with Stafford because of the experience. I'm going with Stafford because I believe in the Rams offense. But next week, if you're playing in an NFC championship against Seattle, even with the potential of Drew Lock playing instead of Sam Darnold, or a 49ers team who is also experienced in the NFC title games, or going up in the Super Bowl against a powerhouse like the Bills or the Broncos or the Pats, the Rams have not done any. They still are my NFC pick. My Super Bowl pick is still alive, but the Rams have not done anything to me to scream that they can be Super Bowl champions. I think the experience will win here. I think the Rams still are the better team, and we're playing in a really tough division. Both teams are in a tough division, minus the fact that the Cardinals absolutely sucked for the NFC West. But the Rams have played enough that I can pick against the Bears. The Rams need to do more. I'm sorry. This is me, being willing to pick them because the line is so short. It's only 4.5. But Stafford and company and McVay, you got to do something because you do not look impressive right now.
Yeah, that's why I didn't touch it, Tom. And it was interesting the number jumped up a point on Friday. That's very, very interesting. All right, Ben, last pick of the divisional playoffs goes to you.
Oh, man. I look at this game, and I mean, I felt like the Panthers were going to kind of. I picked the Panthers to cover that line last week. The Bears, you can say what you want about them. Every week they're going to be right there at the end. I think just kind of been shown, win or lose. And I think with the Rams, I think it's their secondary. Their secondary got absolutely carved up last week, and the Bears have guys kind of similar like to the Panthers that can make plays, which tells me that I think it's going to be an offensive shootout. I think that the weather in this case does not mean really anything. So I'm going to go the over here. I think both teams, the Rams right now are just very worrisome to really lock on them in a game like this. I mean, their offense, Stafford obviously has had his moments time at time, but their defense and that back end has been very worrisome to me. But, the Bears, whether it's coming back from last week, whether it's just them winning ahead, Ben Johnson, for some odd reason, has been able to kind of keep them competitive no matter what. So I'm going to go with the over here because I feel like I'm guaranteed that I can at least get a high-scoring game of points on both sides of things.
All right, so he's going to go with the over, and that'll wrap up the divisional playoffs of the football forecast. So let's give you a couple of programming notes real quick. So starting so tomorrow, 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 Pacific, we will have the ETB Lounge Saturday edition with Nick Morganson hosting. So he will open the doors tomorrow at 10. So come check that out as the playoffs happen as well. So we have the playoffs and that. And then Gridiron Gurus with Ben and Grant will happen Sunday at noon. So they will go over the Saturday games, get you ready for the Sunday. Maybe we'll have a little bit of head coaching news in between there as well. And so much more with those guys. And also the conference championship edition of the football forecast. It'll be a live show once again. That'll happen next Friday at 6 p.m. as well. So if we have any more coaching news, we will let you know there, and we will get you ready for the penultimate week of the football season. It's crazy to say. After next week, we will have 4 games. We'll have 4 teams, 3 games, 2 days of games, and 1 champion to crown going on there. So, and also that Super Bowl in a couple of weeks will be on NBC. I forgot to mention this back in the last game. Kaylee Hartung, who's going to be working the game, will be on the Super Bowl sidelines for the very first time on NBC as well. So congratulations to her. If you know her from the Amazon stuff, she's been doing a great job.
Yes.
So just wanted to mention that as well. So guys, we'll see what happens. This is going to be a very fascinating week because we have opinions all over the place in this week. So should be wild. We'll see what transpires.
For sure.
Yeah, it's going to be a good week. We have the last couple of weeks, and you'll hear more next week as we get ready to prepare our Super Bowl show. And we will have Sunday coverage on the Super Bowl for the first time in a while. So we're going to have some show coverage. So stay tuned to that across our social medias at ETB Network. And also, thank you to everybody. Close to 380. We were over 380 live watchers today. So thank you. Applause to everybody watching today.
That's a great job.
And make sure you subscribe. YouTube.com/ETB Network. It helps. Watch our shows so we can hit our monetization goals, so we can bring some giveaways and some stuff to people as they watch our shows. And maybe we'll do the show live next year because we're getting a huge response to this show being live.
So I will tell you, I've been thinking, especially this week since I haven't been feeling so well, I've been thinking about next year already in terms of this show, and that was one of the ideas that was going through my head. And and I don't get too personal, but with my schedule next fall, we might be better that we have to push the show to a live show. So stay tuned on that regard.
Yeah, stay tuned on that regard. But that'll do it for the show. Like we said, this is the last week of locks. No more locks for the next week and the week after because there's only 2 games and 1 game, so it makes no sense to have a lock. Essentially, the Super Bowl game is your lock game if you really want to look at it that way.
Yeah, didn't want to lock a prop bet, but that'd be too good. So,
but you know, I look more forward to the list of Tom prop bets that make no sense for the NFL.
Hey, the next couple of shows are just straight up ranting and predicting. That's all it is.
Yeah, and we'll see if there's any of the coaching news too. You never know.
Yeah.
If we get a confirmation, excuse me, on John Harbaugh, we'll get one of our Giants guys in here to do a video at some point.
Yeah, I was just waiting for confirmation, and also I've been feeling well this week, so that's
okay.
But just stay tuned in that regard. But I do want to say before we go, Zan, Grant, and Mike, I know he's not with us this week. Good luck Sunday night, and
Thank
Ben,
you.
good luck Sunday afternoon.
We'll be watching it together, actually.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Awesome, that's great. Good luck, guys. I and hopefully we'll be in that position next year and beyond. So for everybody here at the ETB Network, I'm Johnny Montepano. Go enjoy divisional weekend, everybody. And we'll catch you all again for conference championship week next week.
Have a good week, everybody.